So, I'm Laura Moore. I'm a psychotherapist intern. I'm here with Saniyyah Mayo, and she's the author of Transition of a Butterfly. So I wanted to start off with, what was the inspiration behind this book?
So the inspiration behind the book was I wrote Identifying and Breaking the Cycle, and that is a self-help book. And I wanted to show in this book with characters how the cycles actually play out.
Okay. Okay. There's a couple of topics that you mentioned here. So there's the sexual abuse, there's PTSD, there's the personification of her role as from a child into the adult. There was also, the cultural perspective on there. So how is it that you were able to transition into those different areas?
I wanted to showcase real life scenarios. And even though she deals with a lot, and sometimes, people may think that's a whole lot, but that may be someone's real reality in their life. And so I wanted to show, there's always more than just what is above the surface, So I wanted to showcase different things that she was experiencing throughout her life, because as we evolve, we experience different challenges all the time.
Okay. There is also the two cultural pieces specifically, which is the African American culture and the Latino culture.
Mm-hmm.
Can you elaborate a little bit on why those two specific cultures?
Those specific cultures, because I wanted to showcase, the different things of how cultures play out in terms of the African American culture with Kat. Her mom was African American, but her dad was Latino, he was Hispanic. And I wanted to show within the African American culture sometimes how things are, even how when she disciplines her. And that is normal sometimes in African American culture, that are, I wanted to showcase the different things that people may not be aware of that sometimes occur in African American cultures. Not to say that it happens in all homes, but it is prevalent. The other thing in the Latino home, I wanted to bring out the taboo of, sexual abuse within families with, where fathers are molesting their daughters or uncles are molesting their daughters, nieces, or nephews, because it's something that's not talked about. So I wanted to bring those things to the forefront so people could be aware of, these are things that are actually happening. Even with the African American household where there was sexual abuse and then it went on from generations. So there's some type of similarity. So I wanted to bring these different things out to bring awareness of these things happen every day, and sometimes we overlook them.
Okay. And I definitely understand that piece to it, but do you think that you'll face that some of the readers might be consider it to be a taboo of some sort?
I think I'll get mixed reviews as I'm prepared for it. As always, there are going to be some people that agree. There are going to be some people that disagree. I'm going based on my experience and different things that I've seen, just even personal, and even as a therapist, we come across so many different stories, and it's something that's concrete, something that happens over and over and over with different people, different backgrounds, but you see it consistently. So if I see this consistently, it's something I definitely want to address.
Okay. You being a psychotherapist yourself, do you think that you've come across any of these clients in any sort of way that helps you? Okay.
Of course. We come across ranges of clients all the time, so even when we get a client, we may think we're going in with one thing. It's like a medical doctor going in with surgery. They think, this is the issue, and then you get in there and it's like, oh, it's never just one issue when dealing with a client, as you know. There's always layers of things.
Also in the book, you address the LGBT community.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain, without giving too much details to the readers that have not yet read the book?
I wanted to showcase two sides of the LGBTQ community. Is it Q at the end? It's Q, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to showcase both sides of it. I wanted to showcase their point of perspective of, how they're shunned, and we should openly love them. I feel like we should openly love anybody, regardless of their sex, where they come from, their background, their culture, their socioeconomic status. I feel like we shouldn't embrace everyone. I think sometimes, that community, they do get lashed out, or, they do get, people are aggressive towards them because of what they choose to do. So, and I wanted to showcase that part, love everyone regardless of whether if you agree with their beliefs or not. And then I wanted to showcase the other side, it has to be a reciprocal thing of respect where we respect them but they respect us. So if I'm not necessarily a lesbian or something along those lines, respect my beliefs just as well as you want me to respect yours. So that's the thing that I wanted to showcase, on both parts. There's a sensitivity on both parts, because if I say, I don't agree with it, then I'm shunned. But why should I be shunned if it's something that I don't agree with? Just like you shouldn't be shunned if it's something that you agree with.
Okay. Is there any specific religious components within the book?
Religious components? I don't think I really touched on, well, there is a point, okay, because I forgot about that, because, when I'm writing, there is a part that she prays. And the reason why that I had her praying is I feel like, ultimately, God is the one that heals all. He's the one that answers all, questions and brings things together, because I feel like without God, there is no real healing. So I did have her pray, the main character pray a few times, because there's times in our life where we go through a lot and we don't know how to get out. And it's like the only thing we know sometimes to do is fall to our knees and say, God, why am I going through this? What is happening? Fix this. And that's what I had her do as a young girl in the book.
Okay. Do your readers have to read the first book in order to understand this one?
No, not at all. And so the reason why I did that too, because Identifying and Breaking the Cycle is a self-help book, and sometimes depending on the reader, that might not be their type of book. But then you have Transition of a Butterfly that consists of characters, but it's still giving you the same, the basis and the substance and the content without it being a straight self-help book.
Okay. Is there a future sequel to this
There's
book?
definitely a future sequel to this. The way I ended it off like that on purpose, because I wanted to build to a second sequel, because there's so much in this book that to not have a sequel, I think it would be cheating the readers.
Okay. So in the book, the main character, Kat, does at one point begin counseling services with Mrs. Mayo. She's a therapist that is very directive and very blunt. Would you relate that as somebody, as in your own clinical performance, are you that way?
Yes. So the therapist, as you know, is myself. I made the therapist myself because I wanted the book to be real. And I wanted people to understand and see the realness of the book. And so the things that I have the characters doing in a therapy session is really things that I do in my actual therapy sessions.
Okay. And then there's also a correlation between, so the name Mayo is mentioned both times with two different characters, and I won't give that away, but is there a relationship between those two characters?
That's definitely going to be in the sequel, so you're going to have to see how that plays out in the second book. So that's the surprise in the second book, because many people that's read it ask me that question, and I'm like, okay, I have to address it in the second book. So it's going to be a good teaser and a surprise to see actually even where that leads.
Okay. When can we expect the second book?
The second book, so maybe next year sometime, because we're already in the middle of the year, and I haven't even started writing the second book. But yeah, next year sometime, definitely.
And how long did it take you to write this book?
I started that book in 2015. I wrote the first 2 chapters and put it away. And then 2016 September, I said I'm giving myself to the end of November to finish it. And I finished the book within 2 months. I don't believe it takes a year to write a book. And I had to stop playing and set a deadline for myself, because I'm big on goals and deadlines. And once I set the deadline, I was even done before Thanksgiving break. Okay.
Also, and referred to here are some other names. You touch on social media names. Babyface, I believe, is the name of one of them.
Oh,
okay.
Baby Boy 007?
Baby Boy 007, right. Is that from out of thin air, or is that a personal?
It was out of thin air.
Okay.
It was a Snapchat name, and then when I thought about it, me and my husband and I, we spoke about it, and I was like, man, I should have made the Snapchat name really somebody's name, because I really believe in actually promoting and marketing in my book. Like even the seasoning that I mention on and on over and over again, it's actually my friend's business, and so I believe in promoting things within a book, because when these readers read, they're going to think, well, what seasoning is that? And so I'm big on promoting others as well as myself, because who's going to market you like you?
There's also another name that you mentioned in there, GrindFace. Is that the same type
Definitely
of deal?
my husband. GrindFace apparel, GrindFace, is something that he started, to motivate other people and individuals. Basically, GrindFace means whenever you pursue something, instead of putting your game face on, we put our grind face on, and we pursue our goals without stop, like perseverance, consistency. So instead of game face, he came and coined this term grind face. And so I wanted to, because we're trying to get it out there, just like I said, no one's going to market you like you. And that's my husband's business, so why not market it in my book?
Okay. Obviously, from, the way that you perceive yourself as a therapist, as an author, what is the driving force that motivates you?
To write?
To write, to promote yourself, to continue to promote friends, family.
Because I feel like in life we all have a purpose, right? I feel like in life we all have an enter date, we all have an exit date. So our birth date, the day we die, we don't know how long we're going to be here. And I really believe while we're here, what we do matters, like whole heart, like seriously. And I feel like, therapy is just one part of it. I'm one-on-one with the person in the session, but then giving them the books, I'm writing the screenplay, I finished the screenplay, a movie, letting people see, because just like, the 13 Reasons Why, kids were really touched by that. It caused a whole dialogue that wasn't there before. And I believe sometimes, in a counseling session, I'm just for one person, but everybody's not going to go to therapy. So how can I reach these other people and give them the utensils that I would give someone in a session without them being in a session? And that's why I want to write, I want to do movies, I want to do all these different things, because I feel like the only way I can change and help people is to provoke thought, to change their mindset first. So this is what my writings and the different things that I do is all about.
So we can expect this into...
It's for sale now. So it's
right.
on Amazon, it's on iBook, it's on Saniyyah.com. I'm in the process of trying to get it in Costco's and Barnes & Noble. So.
Okay. But you mentioned Screenplay, so there's the intention to make this into a series of some sort.
Yeah, I definitely want this as a series, yes. But I also have another screenplay that I finished that just misled, and it talks about 3 different girls, how they're misled in different ways with social media and prostitution and all different things like that. And I'm just trying to bring awareness for things that are going on that people are not talking about, that it has to be a conversation if we want people to change.
So again, this is Laura Moore with Saniyyah, the author of Transition of a Butterfly.
You guys be blessed, and as I always say, continue to break cycles.